So there should be a code snippet on screens. Pause if you want to observe and inspect it at any length, because it'll go down in a couple of seconds. But the thing I wanted to say the most was that this video is going to be coming out weird. I know this video is going to be coming out later than I expect. The part about that, though, is that it's going to come out, and about 6 hours later, another World of Horror video is going to come out, and then about 6 to 12 hours after that, a third video is going to come out as kind of a New Year video, but really it's just another intro video because it's been a long time since I updated my intro video, which I might just end up using cuts of a bunch of lost recordings or whatnot. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but as we get into, I think we're on Goizo. As we get into Goizo Exquisite Taste Random Item Stats, custom character, yeah, we're gonna be working with things. So if you didn't see the before the timestamp, basically I'm just going to be explaining a bunch of what I'm doing right here, because I wanted to see, and I'm going to be talking about obviously perm stuff. I should have actually shown you the perm version, but if I survive I'll show you. If not, fine. But really, we're basically working with an item that essentially allows us to use these two spells or skills, whatever you want to call them. One of them, well, they both deal with reason and stamina damage, and at this point I immediately want to say, yeah, we still have the kind of the, I guess, the bug, but more like a design oversight, I'd call it, is we get dexterity, charisma, second encounter light, second mystery is maybe a strength check, is that in double encounters, your spells cannot target enemy B, which is actually a big problem. So that's why, if I were to do things like this, I would rather have, either I would put quote-unquote skills on items, or just have an item that you would equip to be able to still do damage. Now, that's not to say that being able to defeat one enemy with spells isn't useful, but it is still something to think about when we're moving forward, both for base World of Horror perm plugin, whatever you want to say, Botanist, Vigil, Taxi, You, and Mermaid. So we took out battlefields this time just so I can showcase basically what I'm working with here. And if I didn't explain it well, it's because I'm thinking of what to do. I think You actually has a boss fight, but it'll be perfect because it'll allow me to do a thing. And also, you'll get, I usually like to add in something in the message log to let you know that an effect took place. But otherwise, so the evidence here, if you didn't read it, it adds 6 damage to a, well, I call it a talk action, but basically these two spells, and these two spells check to see if basically the variable used by evidence is, nice knowledge check by the way, is a certain number, and if it is, add that damage on, or basically deal damage on top of everything, and you know, deal the damage it does itself. And then both those spells that have stamina, that are based on stamina and reason, deal a minimum of 4 damage, but they cost stamina or reason. So all things considered, it's not, well, it still makes a character a lot stronger, especially this one. But the other part of that, as I roll an 11, so my stats didn't matter. The other part of that is that the damage that's being done, and I'm being able to read what the enemy's damage type is important, but basically having a lot of set, I talked about this in the previous episode, but having set and or get statements is very, 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 very important too. Just in general, if you don't know programming, just know that those are very important. And by that, I mean, for those who don't know programming as much, so basically, I'm having these two spells check, or get, in this case, the type of damage that an enemy does. So this one does all damage, unfortunately. I could have just made another spell that works on all damage, but instead here, again, this one checks to see if an enemy does reason damage, and this one checks to see if an enemy does stamina damage, and then the more get set statements that are given to someone, the more, I guess you should say, flexible or adaptable things can become. The more creative you can be, basically. Again, I'm not trying to support, oh, you should add this, this, and this in the game. I'm still observing here. I always like to state that over and over. Also, I just noticed that this is not taking away stamina, it's taking away reason, but that's a slight little bug that I can fix immediately. Basically, there's a lot that can be done. But to kind of counter talk to myself, it's not that easy in some cases. Again, I don't know the code for World of Horror, the perm plugin, or anything really related to the game in general, but it is important to note that if you introduce these things, weird bugs can arise, and these can come from very specific things, especially when there are exceptions. Exceptions in this case, meaning something I mentioned in the last episode was special attacks that deal double damage that are telegraphed by the in-game chat. But that's not the in-game chat is kind of more a quality of life. It's really more that the game prepares an enemy to do an attack. And in most cases, like the Scissor Lady, like Akamanto, they deal double damage essentially. And that's what happens there. That is, I would assume that's an exception and not something that's kind of assigned to general things, like a character, like an enemy's traits, like a character's perks on level up, things of that nature. Another even more specific example are things like Yashiro's Fate system or On the Run from Juri, although Juri, that one is more generic because it relies on a perk called On the Run, but it is still very specific because the stamina damage, by the way, I should have used Pestering Talk. And you'll note that, see, now I do 8 damage, I use a different message. I could randomize the message as well, but that's a lot of other, you could do a lot of things, basically. But there are certain exceptions that make it more challenging or difficult or riskier to add in different features. Nice 12 roll, by the way, game. So, again, I understand why certain things may or may not be implemented faster, or I understand why things are slower or faster to be added. Not just in like Perm Plugin or World of War, just video games in general. I'm a lot more sympathetic. Now, that being said, to flip the table and go around the other side of the chessboard, people still, players or basically consumers in this case, whatever vocab you want to use, they do still have their validity in their criticisms. Again, we're not being very specific here because I'm also trying to survive on try and not die. It's kind of really bad that this is not costing stamina, but you know what, I'll just do this live. So if we do this live here, I literally just have to go in, and instead of reason here, is this the one? Yeah. Instead of reason, I just put in stamina. There, fixed. I saved it in. I use Sublime Text, but whatever you're using to change your Ito files, and yeah, things happen. We could do another run, but I don't think I'm going to lose here. Also, I just realized I can't actually attack, so yeah, we still have kicks, but I could. There is something you can give characters that make it so they can't do any offensive actions, but I don't really want to do that because for immersive reasons. Basically, it would make no sense. I think I forgot what the exact effect is called, but if you have World of War yourself, you can literally go look at it right now. Go to the Kyrie challenge, and you get a status effect, and that effect you can basically just give to characters, even without the Perm plugin. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. Yeah, it's really, really, really bad that it's still costing reason. That's a very costly bug. But again, I haven't really released this yet anyway, so it's not too bad. I need not stamina, reason. We can still enter this for the purposes of grabbing the painkillers, but I really need reason instead. I think we have to rest if I want reason. Funny enough, if this, well, is it? No, yeah. If both of these cost reason, then it would be a lot more painful, basically, to use these mechanics. But at the same time, you could just be really lucky or unlucky in events and work out things just fine. But I will admit, I believe objectively that what I've given this character right here, the evidence and the talk spell / skills / actions, are very powerful. Period. That's all I have to say. Did I grab the evidence? I'm just gonna do it again. This costs 1 doom, so yeah, we'll do this. Actually, what are we taking? Stamina damage? Yeah, we do this. Now again, if this cost stamina damage, it would have actually been a lot better. But this is 14 damage. So 6 plus 8, because we deal double on that, and then we just use the evidence. I had to give the evidence some upside, even though it's very slow, and that's primarily its accuracy. I don't remember if I didn't want to risk just leaving the attack effect blank and crash the game, so I think I just made it bash, I believe. But that's technical stuff. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. But we'll do Vigilant to Botanist and move on with our lives. But yeah, it's a lot. You can still do a lot of interesting things. I'm just at least showcasing what you can and cannot do. And yet again, this is basically just using the same 3 to 5 statements over and over and over again. Obviously, you need to know the vocabulary of World of Horror. I'm saying vocabulary as a general term so that people who don't know as much about the coding / custom content vocab can understand. But just know that you still have to know a lot about how World of Horror works. So yeah, funny enough, the more you know about World of Horror in general, and the better player you are with World of general, the the more you would be able to understand what's going on. And again, to note, I'm pretty sure you can lock out certain, at least spell uses or really item uses off of what you have equipped. I think what you have equipped is something specifically that you can get right now. I was reading a lot of stuff and my mind is going, so forgive me if I forget if that was possible. I think it is possible though. You have a lot more you can work with. You have a lot to work with basically if you're interested in making custom content for World of War. But definitely with the Perm plugin, you have a lot more you can do. So yeah, I don't think I've used the evidence yet. Keep in mind that every time you use the evidence, it is +1 Doom. So at minimum, if you're using it for every single encounter, that's an extra 8 Doom to your run, which I think is still well worth it. Like compared to what would normally happen in a run, I do think it's for the better. But at the same time, you could actually be using weapons and being okay. But that's why I was thinking about tying the evidence or tying these 2 talk skills to having this evidence item equipped, because if you don't have it equipped, then you can just use like a katana or something and just like deal damage again. So what I mean by that, just to kind of clear the air, is that you can still attack after you use these 2 skills, because spells and or skills, and that's what I'm calling them, are free to use. So the enemy is not going to hit you while you're casting spells, using items, throwing items, using allies, so on and so forth. So you can still attack with a weapon. So basically any damage I'm dealing, like say I use these 2 skills twice, that's 8 damage plus whatever I decide to attack with. And if the enemy is defeated beforehand, they don't even touch you. So that's why I consider these, as they are, they're really powerful. Even though you're losing 1 stamina, 1 reason, or 1 doom guaranteed. But, you know. Basically, also, in a way, these are considered actually weapons themselves, because if you grab a weapon, as you've seen me showcase over and over and over and over and over before, it costs about like 16-20% Doom. Let's be nice and even say 12% Doom if you're really, really lucky. But yeah, it costs less to use evidence 8 times, maybe even 10 times, and then use the skills. Because if you can one-shot an enemy and without them hitting you, fine. Also, that flabbergasted me because I rolled a 12 on knowledge. But, anywho. That being said, so if you consider, like, even if I made, so when you equip if I say when I made you equip the evidence, you get like 99 knowledge, maybe even 99 charisma, we'll even go that far, and pass every check aside from maybe ill-fated stuff, it still wouldn't be the most powerful thing, because unless you can get out of encounters relatively well, or you can pass a lot of your checks, because this character does have low strength, low dexterity, you can still die, especially with events that just don't give you anything, any chance to do anything. Also note that my Doom is really high here, so I think we just take the burns and leave. But yeah, it's still, well, it's an uphill battle for me. Again, let me restate for the record here, as I'm not filling my empty bottle. I'm not being the most efficient. So, yeah, we do want to use this, by the way, because this is really, really important. Ask me for funds, please. Can you please ask me for funds? On a side note, there was a lot I could say here, but I'm forgetting at the moment. But, oh my goodness, it's all damage. I really should have added an all spell, but I think we'd rather just fight this. Yeah, we'd rather just fight this. If I didn't use the evidence already, because if I'm going to run, I might as well just use the evidence and attack here. Again, I have tested this out a few times just really quickly, but really getting into more specific situations like running into Miku here is very specific examples of things that happen. Also, so I could kick 3 times or do a thing. Basically, I'm trying to make this character a very pacifist type character that doesn't attack. But that's hard to do when things happen, so we're just going to take the gamble here. If we lose, we lose, and I'll show you the perm version if nothing else. But thankfully, we can hit 73.2% and be on our way. I didn't level up yet, by the way. I think I'm just going to keep this level up saved here. Stats really don't matter, man. Oh my goodness. Anywho, we're going to enter the portal. Now, again, if I didn't already say it, because I think I was going to say it, but I combo broke myself. I see a lot of people play this character, and for good reason. I understand that wasn't my intent releasing this character. I just thought, hey, it was, you know, detective and then a World of Horror. But as we fail to pass any checks at all, yeah, it was really interesting, and it's kind of like heartwarming to see if I were to be kind of purple prose about it. But at the same time, boy, do I need to get better at making custom characters, because there are still parts in pretty much every character that I'm not exactly satisfied with. Also, I'm holding out to roll like a 1, 2, or a 3, and the game has not given me anything below like a 7. So I think we're gonna doom out here as well. So yeah. Yeah, not really much else to say. I still lost this run. I know, granted, I am autopiloting and not really paying attention. There are, I think, a few things I could have done better, for sure, but I can't articulate them at the moment because I'm still just looking at what I have on. Also, I noticed that I equipped the katana here, so whoops. But at the same time, so it's not that I used evidence only once per battle either, but the extra doom that I use is still gonna hurt me. Like, there is still a cost to these skills, so shrug. But yeah, as we end this run here, I don't think we even enter the thing, so I'm just gonna walk up and end the run. I'll show you the perm version that I'm working with just to close this out. But yeah, without further ado, if you have any ideas, questions, comments, concerns, you know what to do. Otherwise, I will keep moving on with what I'm doing, and I'm trying to make a custom mystery, basically. But I also want to test things out that I can do with the perm plugin. Again, to note that those two things are separate. You get World of War the game, but then you also have to now install the perm plugin. So that's two separate things. But yeah, without further ado, thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Not going to take up much more of your time. Bye!